In this video, we're going to talk about using EFT for chronic back pain. And in particular, we're going to talk about how to uncover the underlying emotional basis of your back pain so you can use EFT to heal it and then finally get relief. My name is Stefan Gonik. I'm an expert EFT practitioner, trainer, and soulmate attraction mentor from EFTalive.com. Now, the thing about chronic back pain is that it's almost always caused by some kind of underlying emotional issue. Even if your back pain started with an injury, if it goes on, normally an injury will heal after a certain number of time, whether it's weeks or months, at some point it's going to heal. And if you continue to have pain after that, again, there's usually some kind of underlying emotional basis for that pain. And in other cases, it might happen, you might get back pain from some weird reason where it just appears, or you might do some movement and then you get this big pain that you think shouldn't have caused it, things like that. But as I said, it is very often the case that there's an underlying emotional basis of that back pain, and if you heal that, the back pain will go away, which is awesome. Now, the biggest problem, and that's actually true, by the way, of physical pain in most parts of our body, but one of the advantages of back pain is that there are certain kinds of emotional bases that tend to be associated with different locations in our back. This is not true of other parts of the body. So other parts of the body can be very challenging to uncover the emotional basis, and you just have to get very creative in your explorations. But with back pain, it tends to be easier. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video in particular. Now, I'm going to be talking about potential emotional bases depending on what level in your back the pain is located. This is not meant to be some sort of absolute thing that if it's in this location, you definitely have this emotional basis. It's more like these are common possibilities of what may be going on for you at that location. So you can just use it to check for yourself. Okay, does this apply to me? If it does, that's awesome, because then you just heal that and then you get relief and you're done. If these possibilities I mentioned don't apply to you, then unfortunately you're going to have to do more creative explorations. Typically you'll need somebody to help you with that. All right, so let's get into this. So we're going to start at the very bottom of the back. Actually, think of it as the spine. So the very bottom is what's called the sacrum. It's also, you can think of it's called the tailbone. And emotional issues for pain at that level tend to be fears around survival, like life and death survival. Okay, so the survival could be like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to live, right? Not that I don't have enough money to do things that I want to do, so that's more of a dissatisfaction kind of thing. This is much more primal of that I don't know if I'm going to be out on the street and not have a place to live, things like that. Or anything that feels like survival. So it could be emotional survival, but it tends to feel kind of a life or death level of survival pain, emotional issue. So if this applies to you and you have pain in that sacral area, tailbone area, the bottom of your spine, then that's the thing that you want to address. And after I list all the different potential emotional bases, we can kind of go back and talk about how to heal them. So the next area of the back that we're going to talk about is your lower back. So it's above that tailbone area, but it's still in your lower back area. So the lower back has to do with support. So the emotional issues that are associated with lower back pain tend to be issues around support. So this again could be fears around money, not survival level fears, but not feeling like you have enough money to do the kinds of things you're wanting to do in your life. It could also be associated with not having some of the major things that you're wanting in your life. So you don't feel supported by the world in that way. So it could be not having the kind of job you want. It could be not having the relationship you want, the marriage that you want. It could be, not having the degree that you wish you had, things like that. So something that would support you in life, in your goals, things like that. It could also be a lack of emotional support. So you might be in a relationship where you feel like you're not getting any emotional support from your partner, and you feel very kind of alone and isolated in the relationship. Or you're not getting emotional support from your family, or you're not getting emotional support from yourself even. So anything around the topic of support would be the thing to explore for yourself if you have lower back pain. Okay. Now, if you have mid back pain, this tends to be an issue around feeling powerless, right? So the mid back pain area is around the topic of power, and pain comes from not feeling like you have power. So it could be that you're in a relationship where you feel like, your partner is very powerful and controlling, and it's very hard for you to stand up for yourself, very hard for you to ask for what you want, things like that. So just feelings of being powerless or not having much power. So that would be the topic of exploration for yourself in that area of the back. So then we get to the upper back. So the upper back tends to be something to do with feeling weighed down by the demands in your life, right? So you can kind of think of that phrase, I have a lot on my shoulders. It feels very heavy, right? So feeling very weighed down by things that are going on in your life. You may have difficulty asking for help from others. So I kind of mentioned that already in the power thing. The power thing is more of a feeling like I don't have power in a relationship. I don't have power at work. I don't have power in my life. But feeling burdened, so upper back is kind of about feeling burdened. One of the ways we can feel burdened is we may be somebody who's a big giver and I have a hard time receiving, right? I have a hard time asking for things. So that would be, feeling burdened, weighed down, things like that. It can also come from the feeling that there's somebody on your back all the time, right? Somebody kind of watching what you're doing, being judgmental, being critical, on your case, things like that. So it could be a boss, could be our partner, could be a family member, different things like that. All right, so that covers the range of the locations in your back where the back pain may be. All right. Now neck pain is a little trickier. You could be thinking of like, okay, this, who's a pain in the neck in my life? That'd be something to consider for neck pain. So once you've identified the emotional basis, if any of these things start ringing bells like ding, 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 yes, this applies to me, then you're going to want to tap on that. So if it's feeling, fears around survival, going back to the beginning, you want to tap on your fear around survival. So lots of times, even if we have some struggle in the area of survival, some people who may be in the exact same situation aren't feeling so scared about it. They may feel like, yeah, things are difficult, but I can handle it. I can do it. And then there's other people who feel very scared or anxious or worried, which are really all different versions of fear, right? So what you want to do is tap on your fears around whatever it is the survival fear is about. Just keep tapping on the fears until they calm down. And then you'll notice as you do that your back pain will get less and less. Now, interestingly, by the way, when you're tapping on the emotional basis of physical pain, wherever it is, in this case it's back pain, lots of times your pain will actually go up and down. So if you start tapping on something and you notice at first your pain goes and your back goes up, don't get scared by that. That's actually a positive sign, because any time you do some tapping on an emotional thing and you feel some change in the pain, even if it goes up rather than down, that means you're on track, right? If the thing you're tapping on has got nothing to do with your back pain, then there'll be no change, either up or down. But sometimes it will go up because as you first start tapping on it, it'll actually start to get you more in touch with the emotional issue and bring it out more strongly, and which in that case the pain will go up. So again, that's why it's showing that you're on track, right? Because if I'm tapping on a topic and the pain goes up, then that topic is definitely related to my back pain, right? So you just want to keep going until you clear it out enough that the pain comes down, 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 ultimately, ideally, to zero. So if we get to the lower back around support, so again, you want to look at where in your life do you not feel supported. I gave you examples already. And then you want to tap on these things. Now, sometimes when we do this tapping, we're tapping on the emotional stuff, but sometimes actions are required. So if I need more support in my life, maybe I need to get more support from my life, right? So that I'm going to have feelings about my lack of support. That's what I can tap on. But sometimes we also, like I say, we have to take actions to get the support. But sometimes we don't have to. Sometimes just tapping and relieving the underlying feelings is sufficient to get rid of the back pain and to feel better. So, either way, that can be good. Now the mid back is about power. So this one is a little challenging because if we're feeling powerless in our life, then you can tap on feeling powerless, but lots of times, I mean, sometimes that helps in a big way. Lots of times, though, what we need to do in this case is go to our childhood wounding that caused us to feel powerless as an adult, right? So just tapping on the fact, even though I feel powerless in whatever the situation is in your life, sometimes that'll help. You'll get relief. You'll feel much better in your back and things are good. But sometimes you'll still feel powerless. And so in that case, what you need to do is, go back to the childhood experiences that caused you to feel powerless. For instance, you might have had an extremely dominating, controlling parent who didn't let you make any choices, who's just made you do all these different things, whether you want to do them or not, and left you feeling very powerless as a child and continue to feel powerless as an adult. So in that case, those kind of experiences have to be healed so that you feel much more empowered as an adult, and then that issue will clear up. So you may or may not be able to do that by yourself, but that's the kind of thing you would need to address. So that'd be the mid back, and then we go coming back to the upper back, feeling burdened in life. Again, this is going to be a combination of tapping on the feelings, and then you also may have to take action, right? So if you're burdened in life because you're a giver and you have a hard time receiving, well, you're going to need to change that pattern, right? Because otherwise you're going to still be burdened, because you're going to be, all this energy going out, which is going to drain you, and nothing coming in, which would recharge you, right? So when somebody's a giver and not a receiver, there's two things that recharge our batteries, right? One is to receive from other people, right? So when we're receiving from other people, it recharges our batteries. The other option is to just rest, right? Just take a break from giving and rest. Ideally, though, we want to be able to receive from others, because that's a wonderful way to recharge our batteries. And also, people who tend to be super big givers lots of times have a hard time letting themselves rest. So there's going to be an issue of taking action as well as getting relief from the feelings. So, one of the other examples of being burdened in your life is there's somebody's on your back, right? So you can tap on, this person's on my back and it's driving me crazy and it makes me angry and it's frustrating and and you can tap on those feelings, but then when you're done, you'll feel better. But if the person continues to be on your back, the feelings are starting building up again. So you can either keep tapping on them over and over again, or you might have to address what's going on with that person, maybe have boundaries with them, stuff like that. Actually, mid-back, feeling powerless, one of the things that often is a challenge for people who are feeling powerless is the boundary thing that I just mentioned. So one of the things we need to be able to do to feel more empowered is to be able to have and enforce boundaries, right? So it's going to be a matter of both sticking up for ourselves, this power thing, and also to have boundaries, to be able to say no to something. So, and again, if the neck, somebody's in pain in your neck, you can tap on your feelings about that. It might take care of it, or again, action may need to be taken. You may have to have a boundary with that person, or you may need to work things out with them in some way. So, like I said, these are not meant to be the definitive answers as to, these are absolutely the bases, the emotional bases of pain and all these different, areas in your back. But it's a good starting point to start to try and see what might be going on for you and your back pain personally. But you'll find that lots of times these will apply to you. So this is really a good starting point. And otherwise, you can explore more. You may need to get help, things like that. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, it would be wonderful if you take a second to click on the like button. You're welcome to subscribe to my channel to get all my latest videos about EFT. And on my website at EFTalive.com, I have a free ebook called Change Your Beliefs, Change Your Life Using the Magic of EFT that teaches you how to use EFT to shift negative beliefs into more positive ones, because our negative limiting beliefs can have a really big impact on what we're able to do in our lives. So you can get that at my website at EFTalive.com. So keep tapping, and I'll see you on the next one.